I learned early that the world wasn't built for people like me. The first time someone laughed at my hands, I was 7. I'd been trying to tell my classmate about the picture I'd drawn, a sunset over mountains, all oranges and purples bleeding together. My fingers moved carefully through the signs my mother had taught me, each gesture deliberate and full of meaning. "Look at the freak waving his hands around," Tommy Sanders said, and the whole table erupted in laughter. I remember my teacher glancing over with that look, the one that said, "I see what's happening, but I'm too tired to deal with it." She turned back to her desk. That was the day I learned that silence could be loud. My name is Micah. I'm 24 now, and I've spent most of my life being invisible. Not because I wanted to be, but because it was easier than constantly explaining myself, easier than watching people's faces shift from confusion to pity to irritation. I'd never been kissed, never been held, never been loved. Sometimes I wondered if I ever would be. The car accident took my parents when I was 8. I was in the backseat, buckled in tight, when the truck ran the red light. I don't remember the impact, just the sudden stillness afterward, the way the world seemed to hold its breath. I was already deaf, had been since birth, so I couldn't hear my mother's screams or my father's last words. I only saw the glass spider webbing across the windshield, the dark spreading across my father's shirt. I survived. They didn't. After that, I bounced between foster homes. None of them lasted. Deaf kids require special attention, and most families weren't equipped for that. By 16, I was in a group home, counting down the days until I aged out of the system. I taught myself to be small, to take up less space, to smile and nod even when I had no idea what was happening around me. It became a survival skill. The office where I had worked, was a small marketing firm downtown. I'd been hired as a data entry clerk 3 years ago, mostly because they needed to fill a diversity quota. I knew that. Everyone knew that. My desk was in the corner, away from the main floor. People rarely came by unless they needed something filed or wanted to dump extra work on me. "Micah, can you handle these reports?" They'd ask, not really asking. I'd nod. What else could I do? That Tuesday started like any other. I arrived early, made my coffee in the break room while avoiding eye contact with Karen from accounting, who always spoke too fast for me to lip read. I settled at my desk and opened my email. 53 unread messages. Most were automated. A few were group threads I'd been CC'd on but never included in. I scrolled through them mechanically, looking for anything that actually required my attention. Then I saw it. Subject: quarterly report error. My stomach dropped. I opened the email from my supervisor, Mr. Chin. "Micah, the quarterly report you submitted last week contained significant errors that were presented to our client. This is unacceptable. We need to discuss this immediately. James Chin." I read it 3 times, my hands trembling. I hadn't submitted any quarterly report. I didn't even have access to those files. That was Jennifer's job, 2 desks over. But I knew how this would go. I'd seen it before. When something goes wrong, blame the deaf guy. He probably didn't understand the instructions anyway. I grabbed my notebook and pen, heading to Mr. Chen's office with my defense already written out. My heart hammered against my ribs. His door was open. He was on the phone, but he waved me impatiently. I stood there, waiting while he talked about golf handicaps and weekend plans. He didn't look at me once. Finally, he hung up. "Sit," he said, gesturing. I sat. I slid my notebook across his desk. "I didn't work on that report. Jennifer handles quarterly reports. I can show you my assignment log." He barely glanced at it. "Micah, I don't have time for this. The client is furious. Someone has to take responsibility." I wrote faster. "But I didn't do it. Please check the file metadata. It will show who." "Listen," he interrupted, though of course I couldn't hear the sharpness in his tone. I could only see it in the way his jaw tightened. "This isn't working out. You're a liability. We're going to have to let you go." The words hit like a physical blow. "Please," I wrote, my handwriting getting messier. "I need this job. I didn't make this mistake. Just give me a chance to. Security will escort you out. Clear your desk." He stood up, conversation over. I sat there for a moment, staring at my notebook, at my desperate scratches of ink. Then I stood, my legs shaky, and walked back to my desk in a daze. Jennifer watched me pack my things with wide, guilty eyes. She knew. Everyone knew. No one said anything. The rain started as I left the building, my box of personal items, a coffee mug, a desk plant that was half dead, a framed photo of my parents, clutched against my chest. I had nowhere to go. My apartment rent was due in 3 days. I had maybe $200 in my account. No references. No prospects. I walked without direction, letting the rain soak through my jacket, my hair, my skin. The city blurred around me, car lights, neon signs, strangers rushing past with umbrellas. I ended up under a street light near the financial district, finally stopping because my legs wouldn't carry me anymore. I set the box down on the wet pavement and just stood there. Then I broke. Silent sobs shook my shoulders. Tears mixed with rain on my face. I pressed my hands over my eyes trying to hold myself together, but I was so tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of being invisible. Tired of pretending that everything was okay when it never, ever was. I sank down onto the curb, hugging my knees and let myself fall apart. That's when I felt the presence. Someone had stopped in front of me. I looked up through blurred vision and saw polished black shoes, expensive suit pants. My gaze traveled up to a face I'd never seen before. Sharp features, dark eyes that watched me with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable but somehow wasn't. He was holding an umbrella over both of us. He knelt down, slowly, deliberately, until we were at eye level. Then he pulled out his phone and began typing. He turned the screen toward me. "Are you hurt?" I stared at the words, then at him. He waited patiently, rain drumming on the umbrella above us. I shook my head. He typed again. "Do you need help?" Such a simple question. But the kindness in it, the genuine concern in his eyes, made something crack open in my chest. I grabbed my notebook with shaking hands and wrote, "I just lost my job. I'm sorry. I'll move." He read it, his expression unchanging. Then he typed, "Don't apologize. Can I buy you coffee? Get you somewhere warm?" I should have said no. Should have waved him off and preserved what little dignity I had left. But I was so cold, so empty, and this stranger was offering something no one had offered me in years. Kindness without conditions. I nodded. He smiled, a small gentle curve of his lips, and offered me his hand. I took it. The cafe he brought me to was quiet, tucked away on a side street I'd never noticed before. Warm lighting, soft music I couldn't hear but could feel as vibration through the floor, the smell of coffee and cinnamon. He ordered for us. I saw him type something on his phone to the barista, and then led me to a corner booth. He set a towel on the seat before I sat down, wordlessly helping me preserve some dignity. When the drinks came, he slid a hot chocolate toward me. Not coffee. Somehow he'd known. He settled across from me and pulled out his phone again. "I'm Nathan," he typed. "What's your name?" "Micah," I wrote in my notebook. "It's nice to meet you, Micah." We sat in silence for a moment. Him watching me with that calm, observant gaze, me trying to stop my hands from shaking around the warm mug. "Do you want to talk about what happened?" He typed eventually. I hesitated. Then, slowly I began to write. I told him about the job, about being blamed for mistakes I didn't make, about the years of being overlooked and underestimated. I told him about the foster homes, the loneliness, the constant feeling of being a burden. I wrote and wrote, filling pages, and he read every word. He didn't interrupt. Didn't check his watch or his phone. Just listened in his own way. When I finally stopped, my hand cramping, he reached across the table and gently took the notebook. He read through everything I'd written one more time, his expression growing darker. Then he typed, "They were wrong about you. All of them." My throat tightened. "You deserve better than how you've been treated." I looked away, blinking hard. I didn't know what to say to that. He typed again. "I know we just met, but I'd like to help if you'll let me. No strings. Just one person helping another." "What?" I wrote. "You don't know me. Because someone should have done this a long time ago." Nathan didn't push. That was the first thing I noticed about him. He gave me his number, made sure I knew how to text him, and told me to reach out when I was ready. He paid for a hotel room for me that night, despite my protests, and made sure I had money for food. "Consider it a loan," he typed when I tried to refuse. "Pay me back when you're on your feet." We both knew I probably never would, but he said it anyway, giving me a way to accept without feeling like charity. I didn't hear from him for 2 days. I thought maybe that was it, one kind gesture from a stranger and then back to reality. But on the 3rd day my phone buzzed. "Nathan, how are you doing?" I stared at the message for a long time before responding. "Micah, better. Thank you for everything." "Nathan, have you eaten today?" Micah, "Yes." Nathan, liar. "There's a restaurant called Luca's on 5th Street. I've made a reservation for 2 at 6 p.m. Join me?" I shouldn't have gone. I should have made excuses, protected myself from the inevitable disappointment when he realized I wasn't worth his time. But I went anyway. Luca's was beautiful, soft lighting, elegant but not stuffy. Nathan was already there when I arrived, wearing a dark blue sweater that made his eyes even more striking. He stood when he saw me, a small smile playing on his lips. He didn't hug me or shake my hand, just gestured to the seat across from him. We communicated through his phone and my notebook, a strange dance of written words and patient waiting. "Nathan, I'm glad you came." "I almost didn't." "Nathan, what changed your mind?" I was curious. "Nathan, about? Why are you being so nice to me?" He paused at that, studying me. Then he typed, "Nathan, Because you looked like you needed someone to be nice to you. And because I wanted to see you smile. My breath caught. Nathan, did I overstep? No. I'm not used to this. Nathan, used to what? Kindness. Without wanting something in return. His expression softened. Nathan, I'm not going to lie and say I don't want anything. I'd like to get to know you better. But that's all. No pressure. No expectations. Just this. If you're comfortable. Asterisk. For the first time in years, I felt something warm unfurl in my chest. Something that felt dangerously like hope. Okay, I wrote. I like that too. His smile widened, genuine and bright. Nathan, good. Now, have you ever had their truffle pasta? It's incredible. Over the next few weeks, Nathan and I fell into a pattern. We met for coffee, for walks in the park, for quiet dinners where we filled notebooks and phone screens with our thoughts. He asked about my art. I'd mentioned sketching once, and I shyly showed him my drawings. These are beautiful, he typed, studying a charcoal sketch of the city skyline. Have you ever thought about selling them? No one would want them. I would. You're biased. Maybe. But I'm also right. He bought that sketch and 2 others, insisting on paying me far more than they were worth. When I protested, he simply said, artists deserve to be compensated for their work. But the most surprising thing was when I arrived at our next coffee date to find him practicing sign language with a video on his phone. He was terrible at it, his fingers clumsy, his movements stiff, but he was trying. When he saw me, he attempted to sign hello. It came out more like fish potato, and I couldn't help it. I laughed. Actually, I laughed, the sound escaping before I could stop it. His face lit up at the sound, even though I knew my laugh was probably strange. I'd been told it was before. Did I do it wrong? He signed or tried to. It was completely incomprehensible. I nodded, still smiling, and then slowly showed him the correct sign. He copied me, concentrating hard. Better this time. Hello, Micah, he signed carefully. My heart did something complicated in my chest. You don't have to learn, I wrote. I want to, he typed back. I want to speak your language. I didn't mean to fall in love with Nathan. It happened slowly, quietly, like snow accumulating on a winter night. One day there was nothing, and then suddenly everything was covered in white, transformed into something new. It was in the way he always faced me when we talked, making sure I could read his lips. The way he learned that I liked hot chocolate more than coffee, that I preferred sitting with my back to the wall so I could see the whole room. That sudden movement startled me. It was in the way he texted me good morning every day and good night every evening. The way he sent me photos of beautiful things he saw, sunsets, interesting architecture, a cat sleeping in a bookstore window, because he wanted to share them with me. It was in the way he never made me feel broken. One evening, about 2 months after we met, we were walking through the botanical gardens. The sun was setting, painting everything gold and pink, and Nathan had been practicing his sign language. The flowers are beautiful, he signed, still slow but improving. I nodded, then signed back. You're getting better. I have a good teacher. We walked in comfortable silence for a while, our shoulders occasionally brushing. Then Nathan stopped by a bench overlooking a pond. He pulled out his phone. Nathan, can I tell you something? Of course. Nathan, I haven't been this happy in a long time. These past 2 months with you have been. I don't know how to describe it. Like finding something I didn't know I was missing. My hands trembled as I wrote. I feel the same way. Nathan, I know we haven't known each other long, but I care about you, Micah. More than I probably should. What does that mean? He looked at me, then really looked at me, and the intensity in his eyes made my breath catch. Nathan, it means I'm falling for you. And I wanted you to know, even if you don't feel the same way. The world seemed to stop. Nathan, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted to be honest. But I did have something to say. My hand shook as I wrote. I'm falling for you too. I've been scared to admit it. His expression transformed. Relief, joy, something deeper I didn't have a name for. Can I kiss you? He signed, the movements careful and deliberate. I nodded, unable to speak, unable to write, barely able to breathe. He stepped closer, one hand coming up to cup my cheek. His thumb brushed across my skin, gentle and reverent. He gave me time to pull away to change my mind. I didn't. When his lips met mine, it was soft, tentative, asking a question. I answered by leaning into him, my hands gripping his shirt to steady myself. The kiss deepened, and I felt it everywhere, warmth spreading through my chest, my stomach, down to my fingertips. His other arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me closer, and I went willingly. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. Wow, he signed with one hand, making me smile. Yeah, I mouthed. Wow. As our relationship deepened, I found myself sharing pieces of my past I'd buried deep. Late one night, curled up on Nathan's couch with him, I wrote about my parents. About how my mother used to paint with me, her hands moving in sign language while mine were covered in watercolors. About how my father would take me to the park every Sunday, and we'd feed the ducks together. About how much I missed them. Nathan read every word, his arm tightening around me. They would be proud of you, he typed with one hand, the other still holding me close. The person you've become, despite everything. How can you know that? Because I'm proud of you. And I've only known you for a few months. I buried my face in his shoulder, letting the grief I'd carried for 18 years finally have space to breathe. Another time I told him about the worst of the bullying. About the boy in high school who used to slam my hands in his locker because, you don't need them anyway, freak. I showed Nathan the scars on my left hand, the crooked pinky finger that never healed quite right. The fury in Nathan's eyes was swift and fierce. I wish I could go back and protect you, he signed, then typed when his signing failed him. I wish I could have been there. You're here now. That's what matters. He kissed my scarred hand, gentle and deliberate, like he could somehow heal old wounds with tenderness. Maybe he could. Nathan told me about his life too, slowly revealing the man behind the kindness. He was the CEO of Sterling Industries, a tech company worth billions. He built it from the ground up, working 20-hour days, sacrificing relationships and health and anything resembling a normal life. I was lonely, he typed one evening. Surrounded by people all day but completely alone. Then I saw you under that streetlight and something just clicked. What clicked? That success doesn't mean anything if you have no one to share it with. That I'd been so focused on building an empire, I forgot to build a life. He'd had relationships before, brief, surface-level things with people who wanted his money or status. Never anything real. You see me, he typed. Not my bank account. Not my company. Just me. That's all I want to see. He pulled me into his lap then, kissing me deeply, and I melted into him. These moments of intimacy, physical and emotional, were becoming more frequent. Heated kisses that left us both breathless. Hands exploring, learning each other's bodies with increasing urgency. But Nathan never pushed for more. Always gave me control, always made sure I was comfortable. We have time, he would sign when things got intense. No rush. I appreciated it even as my body ached for more. 7 months into our relationship, Nathan asked me to move in with him. His penthouse was ridiculous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, more square footage than anyone needed, a kitchen I was afraid to cook in because everything looked expensive. Make it yours, he signed, his vocabulary growing steadily. I want this to feel like home. So I did. I set up an art corner by the windows where the light was best. I filled the shelves with books. I put my parents' photo on the nightstand. And slowly it did feel like home. The first time Nathan had to attend a company gala, he asked me to come with him. You don't have to, he typed. I know big crowds can be overwhelming. But I'd really like you there. As your date? As my partner. The distinction mattered. I spent a week anxious about it, trying on the suit Nathan had bought me and refusing to look at the price tag, worrying about making a fool of myself. The night of the gala, Nathan must have sensed my nerves because he took my hands and made me look at him. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, he signed. Just be yourself. That's all I want. The gala was overwhelming, hundreds of people in designer clothes, champagne flowing, conversations happening all around me that I couldn't follow. But Nathan stayed close, his hand warm on my lower back, grounding me. When people asked who I was, he introduced me proudly. This is Micah, my partner. Not boyfriend. Not date. Partner. Like we were equals. I saw the looks though. The raised eyebrows. The whispered conversations behind hands. I could lip read enough to catch fragments. Did you hear? Nathan's dating some deaf guy. Isn't that? I mean, it's a bit strange, don't you think? Probably just a phase. Each comment was a small cut, but I'd learned to ignore them. Until one woman, blonde, gorgeous, draped in diamonds, approached us directly. Nathan, darling, she said, touching his arm with practiced familiarity. I caught her name tag, Victoria Ashford, from some competing tech company. She turned to me, her smile sharp. She spoke slowly, exaggerating her lip movements in a way that was clearly mocking. It's so sweet that Nathan is helping you out. Nathan's jaw tightened. He pulled out his phone and typed something, showing it to her. I couldn't see what it said, but her expression soured immediately. That's uncalled for, she snapped. Nathan typed again, his movements sharp. Whatever he said made her turn on her heel and storm off. What did you tell her? I signed. He showed me his phone. First message. Micah is my partner, not a charity case. Watch your tone. Second message. And for the record, I'm the lucky one in this relationship. Now if you'll excuse us, I'd like to dance with the man I love. My heart stopped at those last 4 words. The man I love. He'd never said it before. Never typed it. Never signed it. You love me? I signed, my hands trembling. His expression softened completely. He set down his phone and signed clearly, "I love you, Micah. I have for a while now." After the gala, things shifted. Nathan's relationship with me became public knowledge. Articles appeared online, some neutral, many not. Tech billionaire's surprising romance. Nathan Sterling's new partner. What we know. Is this just a publicity stunt? The comment sections were vicious. People questioned my motives, called me a gold digger, and suggested I was taking advantage of Nathan's kindness. Others made cruel jokes about my deafness. I tried not to read them. I really did. But they found their way to me anyway, screenshots sent by anonymous accounts, comments on my virtually non-existent social media. "You're embarrassing him. He's going to realize what a mistake you are. Enjoy it while it lasts, leech." The worst part was that some of them echoed my own fears, the ones I tried to bury but never quite could. Nathan noticed me withdrawing. I stopped going out with him to public places. Made excuses when he invited me to company events. Spent more time in my art corner, using my sketches to escape. One evening he came home to find me staring at my laptop, reading through yet another cruel article. He closed the laptop firmly and turned my chair to face him. "Talk to me," he signed. "I'm fine." Liar. I looked away, but he gently turned my face back to his. "Please, Micah. Let me in." So I did. I showed him the articles, the comments, the messages. I wrote about how I felt like I was ruining his reputation, how maybe everyone was right and he deserved someone normal, someone who wouldn't complicate his life. Nathan's expression grew darker with every word he read. Then he knelt in front of me and signed. "Listen to me. Are you listening?" I nodded. "You are not a mistake. You are not an embarrassment. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me." "But, no. No buts. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they think. I only care about you. Your business partners. Can deal with it or leave. I'm not going to hide you. I'm not going to pretend we're something less than we are." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "I love you," he signed. "Only you. Always you." He pulled me into his arms and I clung to him, wanting desperately to believe him. But the doubt had taken root. It happened 3 weeks later. Nathan had an important board meeting. Investors were coming in from overseas. It was crucial for a merger he'd been working on for months. He asked me to attend the dinner afterward. "Please," he signed. "I want you there. You're my partner in everything." I almost said no. Almost made another excuse. But the hope in his eyes made me agree. The dinner was at an exclusive restaurant, private room, 12 people total. I dressed carefully, practiced my polite smile, prepared myself to be invisible while Nathan handled business. For the first hour it was fine. I sat beside Nathan, following what I could of the conversation through lip reading and context clues. Nathan kept me included, typing quick summaries on his phone when something important was said. Then one of the investors, an older man with cold eyes, addressed me directly. "So, Micah, what do you do for work?" I froze. Nathan tensed beside me. I pulled out my phone and typed, "I'm an artist. I work from home." The man read it, his lip curling slightly. How nice. Must be comfortable, not having to worry about real employment. The implication was clear. Nathan's jaw clenched. "Micah is a talented artist," he said, his voice tight with controlled anger. Of course," another investor said, clearly trying to smooth things over. But then he added, "Though it must be difficult for you, Nathan, having to constantly accommodate." Accommodate? Nathan's voice was dangerously quiet. "Well, the communication barriers. Having to explain things. It's admirable that you're so patient, but surely it must be exhausting." The table went silent. I felt my face burning. My hands shook in my lap. Nathan stood abruptly. "This meeting is over." "Nathan, don't be ridiculous." I said, "We're done. Get out. You're going to blow a $1 billion merger over my partner." "Yes, I am." "Now leave before I have security escort you out." The room erupted in protests and angry arguments, but Nathan was immovable. Within 10 minutes, everyone was gone. Except me. I sat there, staring at my hands while Nathan paid the bill and gathered our things. In the car ride home, neither of us spoke. Didn't type. Didn't sign. When we got back to the penthouse, I went straight to the bedroom and started packing. Nathan appeared in the doorway, his expression stricken. "What are you doing?" he signed. "I'm leaving." "Why?" "Because they're right. I'm ruining your life." "That's not true. You just lost a $1 billion merger because of me." "I don't care about the merger." "But I do." My signs were harsh, angry. "I care that I'm costing you things. I care that people see me and see a burden." "You're not a burden." "Yes, I am." Tears streamed down my face. "I've always been a burden. To my foster families. To my employers. And now to you. Nathan grabbed my hands, stopping my frantic signing. Look at me, he signed fiercely. Please, Micah. Look at me. I did, my vision blurred with tears. You are not a burden, he signed slowly, deliberately. You are my choice. You are my love. You are my life. I shook my head, pulling away. I grabbed my notebook and wrote, You deserve someone normal. Someone who doesn't complicate everything. Someone you don't have to defend. I'm sorry, Nathan. I love you too much to keep hurting you. I left the note on the bed, grabbed my bag, and walked out before he could stop me. The last thing I saw was his devastated expression in the doorway. I went back to the hotel where we'd first started, a cheap place downtown that Nathan had paid for all those months ago. I spent 3 days there, not eating, barely sleeping, just staring at the ceiling and trying to convince myself I'd done the right thing. My phone buzzed constantly. Nathan calling, texting. Nathan, please come home. Nathan, we can work through this. Nathan, I love you. Nothing else matters. Nathan, Micah, please. Just let me know you're safe. I wanted to respond. I wanted to run back to him and pretend everything was okay. But every time I reached for my phone, I remembered the investor's sneer, the articles calling me a leech, the way Nathan had to constantly defend me. He deserved better. On the 4th day, my phone buzzed with messages from Nathan. Micah, I'm not going to force you to come back. You're your own person and you deserve to make your own choices. But I am going to tell you what happened after you left. I called an emergency board meeting. I stood in front of every investor, every partner, every stakeholder, and I told them that you are my partner. Not my secret. Not my charity project. My partner. I told them that anyone who has a problem with that can withdraw their investment. That I would rather lose every dollar than lose you. 3 investors pulled out. The merger fell through. And I have never been more certain of any business decision in my life. I love you, Micah. Not despite your deafness, but because of every single thing that makes you who you are. Your strength. Your kindness. Your art. Your beautiful hands that speak a language I'm still learning. If you truly don't want to be with me anymore, I'll respect that. I'll leave you alone. But if you left because you thought you were protecting me, you're wrong. The only thing that's hurting me is being without you. Come home. Please. Nathan. I read 3 times, tears falling onto my phone, then I typed back, I am coming right away. Nathan was sitting in the hotel lobby, looking exhausted and rumpled in a way I'd never seen him. His shirt was wrinkled. He had dark circles under his eyes. When he saw me, he stood so fast he almost knocked over his chair. We stood there, staring at each other across the lobby. Then I ran. I crashed into him, and his arms wrapped around me immediately, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. I'm sorry, I signed against his chest. I'm so sorry. No, he signed back, one-handed while still holding me. I'm sorry. I should have protected you better. Should have shut down those comments sooner. You can't control what people say. Maybe not. But I can control what I do about it. He pulled back enough to look at me, his hands coming up to cup my face. I have something to show you, he signed. He pulled out his phone and opened his social media, which he rarely used. The top post was from yesterday. Nathan Sterling at Nathan Sterling _ I want to address the recent speculation about my personal life. Micah is my partner and I love him. He's talented, kind, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. Anyone who works with me needs to respect that. No exceptions. To those who have made cruel comments, you're showing your ignorance, not his worth. And to Micah, if you're reading this, come home. I miss you. #love is love. It had 3 million likes. The comments were a mix of support and hate, but the supportive ones far outnumbered the cruel ones. You posted this? I signed, stunned. I should have done it sooner. Made it clear from the start that you're not someone I'm hiding. But your business will survive. Or it won't. Either way, I'm not losing you again. He signed something then, slowly and clearly. You are my choice. Not my charity. Not my secret. My choice. Always. I kissed him then there in the hotel lobby, not caring who saw. Take me home, I signed when we broke apart. His smile was brighter than I'd ever seen it. Gladly. The next few months weren't easy, but they were ours. Nathan made changes at his company, implemented stricter inclusivity policies, hired a sign language interpreter for all major meetings, even started a program to fund accessibility accommodations for other businesses. If I have this platform, I should use it for something good, he signed. I started teaching sign language classes twice a week at a community center. Nathan had suggested it, thinking it might help me build confidence. He was right. 6 months after I'd come back, Nathan invited me to another gala. I almost said no, old fears creeping back. But Nathan sat me down and signed. I'm not going to force you. But I want you to know that I'm proud to have you by my side. Not ashamed. Not tolerant. Proud. What if people are cruel again? Then I'll handle it. Together we'll handle it. So I went. This time was different. Nathan didn't leave my side, but it wasn't because he thought I needed protection. It was because he wanted to be near me. When someone approached us, he introduced me immediately. This is Micah, my partner. He teaches sign language and creates incredible art. Not just my name, my accomplishments. When one person made a snide comment about special accommodations, Nathan didn't get angry. He simply signed to me right there in front of everyone. This person just revealed their ignorance. Should we educate them or move on? I signed back, move on. Not worth our time. He grinned and did exactly that, leaving the person sputtering. Later, on the dance floor, Nathan held me close as we swayed to music I couldn't hear but could feel through the vibrations. Happy? He signed with one hand. I nodded against his shoulder. I love you, he signed. I love you too, I signed back. And I meant it completely. 1 year after we met, Nathan came home with papers. Legal documents. He spread them on the counter and signed, I want to show you something. I read through them, confused at first. Then I realized what they were. Partnership papers. Making me a part owner of a new venture he was starting, an accessibility-focused tech company. Nathan, I can't. You can. You should. Your insights, your experiences, they're valuable. I want to build this with you. I don't know anything about running a company. You know about what matters. We'll figure out the rest together. It was terrifying and exhilarating. We started small, developing apps for deaf and hard-of-hearing users, creating technology to make the world more accessible. My art became part of it too. I designed the interfaces, made sure they were beautiful as well as functional. Slowly, my confidence grew. I spoke at conferences, through an interpreter, shared my story and helped other deaf individuals find their voices. Nathan was there for all of it, my biggest supporter. Look at you, he signed one evening after I'd given a particularly successful presentation. Changing the world. We're changing it. Together. Together, he agreed, kissing me softly. Our physical relationship had been slowly building. Heated kisses, wandering hands, nights where we came close to crossing that final line before one of us pulled back. I was nervous. Not because I didn't want Nathan, I wanted him desperately. But I'd never done this before. Never trusted anyone enough to be that vulnerable. Nathan knew. He never pushed, never pressured. When you're ready, he always signed. No rush. But one evening, after a particularly good day, we just signed a major deal with a school district to implement our accessibility software. I realized I was ready. We were curled on the couch, Netflix playing on the TV with subtitles always, Nathan's arms around me. I turned in his embrace and kissed him, deeper than usual. He responded immediately, his hands sliding into my hair. When I pulled back, I signed, I want you. His eyes darkened. Are you sure? I nodded. We can stop anytime, he signed. Just tell me. I know, I signed. I trust you. Something fierce and tender crossed his face. He stood, offering me his hand. I took it. In his bedroom, our bedroom, he took his time. He kissed me slowly, thoroughly, until I was trembling. His hands moved over my clothes, asking permission with every touch. When he started unbuttoning my shirt, he paused after each button, checking my face. I nodded each time, my breath coming faster. He slipped the shirt off my shoulders, his eyes roaming over my exposed skin. I fought the urge to cover myself, to hide the scars and imperfections. But Nathan looked at me like I was beautiful. Perfect. He signed with one hand, the other tracing patterns on my chest that made me shiver. I reached for his shirt, and he let me undress him too, patient as I fumbled with buttons with shaking hands. When we were both shirtless, he pulled me close, skin against skin, and the feeling was electric. He walked me backward to the bed, lowering me gently onto the mattress. Still okay? He signed. Yes, I signed back. More than okay. He smiled, that soft smile that made my heart race, and kissed down my neck, my chest, my stomach. Every touch was deliberate, worshipful. When he reached for my belt, he paused again, asking permission. I lifted my hips in response, and he understood. Soon we were both naked, and Nathan was hovering over me, his eyes dark with want but still patient. Are you sure? He signed again. Instead of signing back, I pulled him down into a kiss that left no room for doubt. Nathan took his time preparing me, his touches gentle and careful. He kept checking my face, making sure I was comfortable, making sure it wasn't too much. It was intense, vulnerable in a way I'd never been before. But I felt safe with him. When he finally entered me, slow and careful, I gasped at the sensation. He stopped immediately, concerned about flooding his expression. Okay, he signed with shaking hands. I nodded, unable to form words or signs, just pulling him closer. He started moving, slowly at first, letting me adjust. The feeling was overwhelming, not just physical but emotional. This was Nathan, inside me, around me, part of me. I'd never felt more connected to another person. He kissed me as he moved, swallowing my small sounds. His hands were everywhere, my face, my hair, my hips, touching me like I was precious. When the pleasure built to something unbearable, I gripped his shoulders, my nails digging in. He understood, his movements becoming more urgent, more focused. When I fell apart, it was with Nathan's name on my lips, voiceless but felt, and he followed seconds later, burying his face in my neck. We lay tangled together afterward, sweaty and breathless and completely happy. "I love you," he signed eventually, pressing kisses to my shoulder. "I love you too," I signed back, meaning it with every fiber of my being. Over the following weeks, we explored each other thoroughly. Learned what made the other gasp, tremble, beg for more. Some nights were slow and tender. Others were desperate and passionate. But always it was safe. It was love. Nathan pulled me against his chest and signed, "I want forever with you." My heart stopped. "What?" I signed. "Marry me," he signed, clear and certain. "Be my husband. Let's build a life together, officially." I stared at him, tears welling up. "You mean it?" I signed. "I've never meant anything more." "Yes," I signed, nodding frantically. "Yes, yes, yes." He kissed me then, deep and claiming, slower this time, sealing our promise to each other. Nathan signed, slowly and clearly. "Micah, you taught me that love isn't loud. It's quiet, patient, and kind. It's choosing someone every day in every moment. You gave me a life I didn't know I was missing. I promise to love you, honor you forever." Thanks for watching, besties. Please subscribe for more beautiful stories.